PR Connections Radio presents. This podcast is brought to you by LifeWave. Ready to elevate your wellness game? Meet X39 from LifeWave.com. This game-changing patch uses phototherapy to stimulate your skin, enhancing strength and stamina by channeling your body's innate energy. Simply apply it to harness infrared heat, naturally boosting your vitality. Want to learn more? Visit www.lifewave.com/VernD and step into a healthier, more active lifestyle today.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Breaking the Silence Beyond the Boundaries, where bold voices rise and limits fall. Now, today, we are exploring what it means to speak into new spaces, not just by stepping into them ourselves, but by using our voices to inspire others to do the same. Now, for many, new spaces can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. But sometimes all it takes is the right voice, someone who encourages, guides, and reminds us of what's possible. Now, my guest today, Pat, is a retired educator who has stepped into new chapters as a group travel coordinator for Go Ahead Tours. Pat has successfully stepped into her own growth while discovering that sharing her passion for travel can afford her more travel opportunities. Through her work, she uses her voice to encourage others to explore the world, embrace new experiences, and move beyond the boundaries of what feels familiar. So welcome, Pat. I'm so glad that you are here with us today. Now, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Gail. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I always like to say that I come from a typical Irish Catholic family. There were 10 children in the family, and they produced, my grandmother and grandfather produced a Catholic priest, a liquor distributor, and a bum who actually rode the rails and worked in a carnival. Now, my mom was the youngest of 10, and she wasn't babied because, she just wasn't babied. She grew up to be a very strong and resourceful woman, and I like to think that I followed in her footsteps. So, long story short, she was widowed very early, and with 2 young girls. And my grandmother moved in with us so Mom could go back to work. Well, my mother's brother, who was the Catholic priest, was also a lifetime member of the armed services. So since Grandma lived with us, whenever Uncle Jim came home from the army on leave, he always stayed with us. So we had a really good relationship. Well, when Grandma died, Uncle Jim came home for the funeral. And after all the funeral and everything, he said to my mother very quietly, I have just gotten orders to go to Heidelberg, Germany to be the head chaplain. And he said, why don't you and the girls come with me? Well, now, he said it just to her and very quietly. I really think he thought she'd say, oh, no, I could never do that. Before he could change his mind, she had a for sale sign in our front yard. So we went to Heidelberg, Germany. It took me a while to get used to the system, but then it dawned on me. I wanted to be a teacher. I already knew that. I was a freshman in high school. I wanted to be a teacher, and I knew that my teachers were having the time of their lives. Going to Paris on the weekend, doing spring break in Rome. And I thought, that I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. So I got my degree in education, and I taught 2 years in Arizona. And then I was fortunate enough to get accepted to teach kindergarten in Augsburg, Germany. So I did that for 2 years. And then I went to Japan. First year I was there, I was on the farthest north place in Japan that you can go, Hokkaido. The name of the town was Wakkanai, and it was cold. Oh my goodness sakes, it was cold. Well, that base closed, so I figured, well, I've been to the farthest north, I might as well go to the farthest south. So I went to a Navy base, spent a year there, and then I thought I met the love of my life, and I came home, and that didn't work out. Didn't work out. His loss. But when I met my husband, and we finally ended up in Las Vegas, we traveled as often as we could. And then when I retired, I knew I wasn't going to be satisfied just sitting at home. So I found this EF Go Ahead Tours, and the EF stands for Education First. And then it used to be for middle school and high school teachers to take their students all over the world. Then they developed an adult division. Well, my first tour with Go Ahead was to Ecuador and the Galapagos. And I was hooked, especially when they shared with me the fact that if I could recruit 6 other people to go with me, I would earn a free trip. Well, I took the reins and I ran with that. I've gone on 19 trips, and I've made friends all over the country, and they travel with me. I use it as a part-time job, and I recruit people. I write newsletters. Now you've given me the opportunity to be on this wonderful podcast, and you give me a minute, or you sit down next to me someplace, I'm going to talk to you about travel. I've never
Pat, let's go back to that very first time that you tried to recruit someone to do what you're doing. When they said you can earn a new trip if you can earn your own trips if you start doing this. Tell me about the first time that you tried to recruit someone to do this.
Well, now, I've never recruited somebody to do what I do. I have recruited people to go on trips with me, and I have attempted to recruit people to do what I do. I haven't been successful with that yet. I have been successful with recruiting people to go on the trips with me. And most of all, the company helps me sell the idea of the trip.
Okay.
It sometimes tries your patience, when people say, oh, yeah, oh, I'd love to go. Well, then it comes time to put some money down, and there's where the issues begin, because the trips they're not inexpensive. They're not inexpensive.
Yeah.
So, did I answer your question, or I'm not sure?
Well, yes, you have answered my question. I was just wondering if you remember how you felt when you tried to talk to someone for the first time about booking a trip and going on a trip with you. Were they instantly excited and they said, yes, I'll do that right away? Or did it take some encouraging and convincing? And how did you do that?
Short answer is yes, it took convincing. A lot of people's first reaction is, oh, yeah, oh, I've always wanted to go to Paris, or I've always wanted to go to Rome. And in essence, the trips really sell themselves. But as I said, when it comes time to put the money down, that's when some people become reticent. Um, they think, oh, I don't know if I can do this. So I try to explain the different ways that they can go about paying for the trips. Go Ahead has made it, in my opinion, very easy. You can now put down $99 on any trip that you want to go on, and then they will help set up a payment system for you. So if I can convince people enough to let me explain all of that, that helps.
Right. And there are folks that they're just resident about traveling outside of the country itself. They've traveled, from state to state within the United States. Do you have any experiences where people were hesitant to go outside of the United States?
Yes, very much so. And some people think that the idea of applying for a passport is virtually impossible. It's so easy now. Even I renewed my passport online. And you know firsthand that I'm not the most technologically savvy person going. But
That's okay.
as part of my commitment to being a group coordinator, I will volunteer to walk the people through the steps of the process. I practically take them by the hand, and some of the times actually do it for them. For example, my next trip coming up in a month, we are going to Canada, Eastern Canada. And when I got online to select the seats for the people that are going with me, lo and behold, all the seats were full except for the middle seat. Oh. Well, very reluctantly, I chose a middle seat for all of us. It was either that or sit on the wing, and I didn't think that'd be a good idea. I certainly wouldn't get repeat business doing that. So I started out with all of us in middle seats, and then almost every day I would go back into the airline's website, and when an aisle seat came available, then I'd get one of my people in it. So, I do a lot of little things like that to help make it as easy as possible for them.
And go ahead.
No, I know that helps with people who will travel with me again.
Absolutely. And what you do is just so incredibly important, especially for people who might be hesitant about traveling outside of the country and making all of those arrangements themselves. I experienced that firsthand as my husband, Jeff, Jeff, obviously, from years back, but we had never, ever been on a cruise before. And so after I retired, we decided we were going to take a cruise, and we actually incorporated a tour coordinator, just like yourself, who took care of everything. And had we not had that person, that we would still be sitting here on dry land, never having taken a cruise before. So what you do is just super important. Now, can you think back to the most exciting trip that you took that really ended up being so much more than you expected?
Oh gosh, how much time have we got? I always like to say, my favorite trip is the one that I'm on at the time.
It's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Egypt was phenomenal. I mean, riding a camel near the pyramids, it was like I had to pinch myself. And then India, seeing the Taj Mahal in person, I it was in I see I just get I can't even explain it. It was phenomenal. And then, oh gosh, last August in Bali, we went to the monkey forest, and we actually saw monkeys being born. We saw the entire process. It was like, I how am I so fortunate to be able to do all of this?
That is
It's,
incredible.
I mean, and there are so many others. I mean, um, going to Berlin. Uh, Now I've been to Berlin several times, and I was there as a youngster right after the wall was put up. And
Oh,
then to go back a couple years ago and the wall having been taken down, I mean, it's life changing. As a matter of fact, and Gail, I know that you um, appreciate quotes and you write your own quotes, and it's just so remarkable that you do. I looked up one of my favorite travel quotes, which is, travel is not a reward for working hard. It's a reminder of why life is worth living.
oh, that is wonderful.
Yeah,
Wow, that
yeah.
is true. That is true.
Mhm. I totally agree. Yep, yep. And you mentioned the fact that I know Jeff, and for your audience, Gail's husband and my husband worked at the same middle school, so we've known each other for quite a number of years. And my husband is not able to travel on any of these trips because there it takes stamina, and you have to be able to get up early in the morning, and you're walking all day long.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, he gives me his blessing to go wherever I think I need to go, because he knows that is it's necessary for me. I need something to be able to look forward to, and he gives me his blessing, and he stays home with the dog. Um, so I'm very fortunate, very fortunate.
Yeah, that is so heartening to hear because, he knows how happy it makes you, and he doesn't want to keep you from that happiness, and knowing that
Right,
you are going to be fulfilled and satisfied makes him fulfilled and satisfied even though he's at home
right.
experiencing your joy from afar. And that is just wonderful. Mike is an outstanding person, that's for sure.
Yes,
And
yeah.
when you bring back, the thought about the Great Wall, I remember when it was probably in my first few years of teaching here in Las Vegas when we were teaching in a sixth grade center. And during that time, I was teaching reading, language arts, and social studies as part of a 3-hour block.
Hmm.
And when the wall fell, the way
Uh-huh.
we had to bring that to our students
Hmm.
was through rolling a TV into the classroom and then showing them recordings that we had made on the news.
Hmm.
And just think how far we've come in terms of being able to share information that goes on around the world with our kids these
It's true.
days and making
Yes,
those experiences come to life.
yes,
And so,
yes.
you had the travel bug early,
I
just
did.
as a child and going to Germany and all the places that you shared with us. Were you
Mhm.
able to share your experiences, your travel experiences with your students when you were in the classroom?
I certainly tried. I was always in the early elementary, so But when we still traveled, when Mike and I were still teaching, I would always bring back some little something, like a special kind of candy, or one time we went to, I think it was Peru, and I brought home finger puppets for everybody, all my first
Oh,
graders.
yeah.
So yes, I
Mhm.
definitely did try to incorporate it, and show them on the globe where I'd been and all that. I did, yeah. Even then, yeah, I tried to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, you have just led such an incredible life through your experiences traveling around the world and so forth. So, what would you say to our listeners in terms of exploring new spaces and the benefits of doing that?
I don't think it makes any difference what the space is that you're focusing on. You just need to have the confidence in yourself that you're going to be able to step into that space. And you're going to make somebody like you, Gail, is going to help make the space for you to step into. Um, you know, we help each other along the way, but it's just
Absolutely.
you just have to do it regardless of what it is. You just have to do it.
Yep, it is truly exciting what you're doing and what you're doing for others. Having attended the Southern Nevada Retired Teachers Association, and when you get up and you talk about the trips that are coming up, I could just see the excitement on everyone's face. And, we've talked to people that have been on some of your tours before, and, they are just singing your praises. So I surely appreciate you coming on the show and talking about what it is that you do. Is there a website of some sort that you want to share that people might go to, or ways to contact your agency?
How would I do that? I mean, I've got um, I well, it's EF Go Ahead Tours, and then I have a website. Technologically, how would I share that? Um, if
Well, what we can do, since we are live now, when this airs, I'll put it in the comments, and I'll put it in when we promote this particular episode. I'll put it in
Okay.
the comments so we can do that as well. So then
See,
they'll
I knew
have
you'd
it.
know a way. I knew it. I knew you'd know a way. Okay, cool. All right. We'll figure that out. Great.
All
Okay.
right, perfect. Now, do you have any last parting thoughts for us?
Oh gosh. Well, let me share this with you.
Okay.
When Mike and I went to Australia, we were flying over the international date line, and the pilot came on board, and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we are flying over the international date line, and we need to wish a happy birthday to one of our passengers. It's Mrs. So and so. She's in, seat blah, blah, blah. And she's 80 years old." Well, now this was quite some time ago. I poked Mike and I said, "That's going to be me. That's going to be me. I'm going to still be traveling." You know what? You only limit yourself. Get out of your own way. I can proudly say that I am now 81 years old and I am still going strong. My
Wow.
advice is get out of your way, do what brings you happiness.
That
That's
is
it.
awesome. And you are living proof that travel keeps you young. That is
Mhm.
for sure.
Well,
And for all of our listeners out there, as we come to a close, as you travel to new places, you don't need to be someone new. You simply need to trust who you've become in this new world that you're exploring. So,
sure.
thank you so much, Pat, for joining us today. And this has been Breaking the Silence Beyond the Boundaries. See you next time as we explore when your voice expands the room. See you.
Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success. PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.